So we're looking at the regulation of a lot of electrolytes in the body. So we're now on phosphate. So we have looked at different regulations of phosphate and all of that. So how does the fibroblast growth factor 23 actually regulate phosphate levels in the body? Right. So this is how this stuff do this. So it's actually a hormone. It's primarily secreted by osteocytes and osteoblasts in the bone. It plays a crucial role in regulating phosphate levels in the body. So it does this by acting on the kidneys. This will now influence vitamin D metabolism, right? So fibroblast growth factor 23, right? Okay. Well, vitamin D metabolism, that's in the kidneys, you get. So what's the mechanism of regulation? If there's phosphaturia, that's what excretion of phosphate in urine. So that means there's reduced phosphate reabsorption. All right, this thing comes down, it come here, all right. Okay, phosphaturia, like, okay, is the fibroblast growth factor that actually even causes phosphaturia, understand? It down regulates what? Sodium-phosphate what? Absorption. The vitamin D separation, suppression, alright? That's like how this fibroblast growth factor 23 actually works. Now it inhibits the activation of what? 125 dihydroxy vitamin D. That's calcitriol. So it does this by suppressing the enzyme known as 1-alpha hydroxylase in the kidneys, right? So this will now reduce calcitriol levels. It will now decrease what? Intestinal phosphate absorption. Further, it will now contribute to what? Phosphate regulation too. The interaction with clotho. It requires co-receptor known as clotho to bind to its receptors in the kidneys, right? So it will now form a fibroblast growth factor 23 clotho complex. That's a complex actually what ensures that there's efficient phosphate regulation. Okay, so regulating factors is stimulators is there's high serum phosphate levels. So this fibroblast growth factor is now going to down regulate it. You get calcitriol, parathyroid hormone, all of this can actually stimulate the release of this fibroblast growth factor 23, so that it can go and now what? Down regulate. So once phosphate levels goes down, fibroblast growth factor 23 production is reduced, understand? Because the body needs more phosphate now. All right. So if there's excess what fibroblast growth factor 23, it can lead to reduced phosphate levels, all right, hyperphosphatemia, and this can lead to rickets and osteomalacia. Right, if there is deficiency in the fibroblast growth factor 23, you know that what? Phosphate levels will now be going too high. That's hyperphosphatemia. So you see why we actually study these things, right? So this is just the application of this in the regulation of phosphate body levels.